Good day and welcome to the Mythic Giraffe podcast.
What are we in Australia?
Well, we can't say good morning. We don't know when they're listening to it, do we?
We're doing it in the morning.
Yeah. So?
And I don't say good day anyways. I'm not a freaking 1890s European. What's wrong with you?
There's nothing wrong with saying good day.
That's weird.
It's if I say good day, that'd be Australian, but it's not.
It's all weird.
Hi guys.
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm Brad. And this is Chris here. To my right, you can't see him, obviously, because you're listening to a podcast.
That's a good plan.
Due to the magic of technology, I am to his right.
That's true. Yeah. And then Wiz here is to the left. And if it was about 6 months ago, he'd also be a little bit to the right and a little bit to behind, but now he's just on one direction. He's lost a little bit.
Like the band?
Yeah.
That's
Whatever.
It's weird that we both went there.
You had your own
It is.
gravity. Anyway. So, today, we're just going to talk about a little bit of stupidity, and that would be the name, Mythic Giraffe Podcast. And although normally we wouldn't talk about religion or politics, by mutual agreement, even though one of us is denying ever having agreed to it.
I never agreed to anything.
You did agree to it. We are going to talk about religion this one
I'm
time.
partial.
Yeah, well, you have to be between the two of us, because he's always right.
I am always right.
Well,
But
neither
one
we all
job skill.
can agree with this.
My job skill is to argue.
it's a hell of a job skill.
Yeah, doesn't
It's
pay-
finely tuned.
Doesn't pay well.
In any case, Mythic Giraffe Podcast. Where did that come from, Liz?
Well, finally! One day we decided to have a nice little discussion about evolution, which was not work appropriate.
It was evolutionary, but it wasn't about evolution entirely.
But it wasn't
It was about
revolutionary.
one creature.
Ah.
One creature.
Well, kind of evolved into one creature.
And it works with the whole anatomy and...
Well, let's just... Alright. The point is, I was saying that the giraffe could not possibly have evolved because it has too many complex systems, and they all would have... There's no way they could have evolved one at a time without the giraffe essentially exploding, and Ron does not agree with this
I don't agree with you.
because Ron is right.
I am right.
You're
Well, I think
wrong about being
evolutionary
right all the
science
time. You were wrong the other day.
Don't remember
What
that.
were you wrong about?
I actually don't
Go
remember.
ahead.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that stupid fuzzy dog on Battlestar Galactica.
There are some
people-
people... There are some
you
things...
denied existed, and I was wrong, wasn't I?
Everyone has their things they repress.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he represses a lot.
No,
Probably represses it in the dungeon he's got at home.
it's no longer a dungeon. It's now a pantry.
That's quite the
handy.
transition. Since dungeon to pantry.
I had
Absolutely.
I had to buy a freezer either way. Figured I'd stock it for when
Different kind of meat.
we Yeah, still kind of.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, at least she's got something to eat while she's locked up down there.
No, I don't lock her up anymore. She runs loose.
So what...
Free range wife.
Brad, I gotta ask, what specifically, evolutionary-wise, could not happen with a giraffe?
It was something to do with the length of the neck and the amount of blood pressure it actually takes to get blood to rise all the way to the head.
All right.
And the fact that every giraffe has this large sponge-like organ inside of their brain that actually holds blood in like a holding cell, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Without this thing, if the giraffe were to bend over and then suddenly stand up, essentially, it would stroke out.
A head rush.
Right, a huge head rush, and of course they'd fall down. And the
That's
lions
why
would eat 'em.
giraffes do that all the time.
Yeah, that's
They
why
just
they
get
whip
high.
Getting high.
That's why they whip their heads around.
So unless both the heart and the neck and the sponge thing were all made at the exact same time, there is absolutely no way that it could have just evolutionary. The neck got a little longer, and then they said, "Oh, look, maybe I'll put this little sponge in my head just for the hell of it." Why would it have had it?
That's how evolution works.
No, why would it
Yes.
have it?
Because the ones that don't have it
Exactly.
die off and they
Yeah.
breed.
It was.
Okay, but why would it have been developed in the first
It was a
place?
mutation.
Because they had to have the food got higher. They had to evolve
Yeah.
to get towards the higher leaves because of the changes in the climate of the savannah.
Okay, so now we're saying that in the exact same group, there was exactly two mutations that were exactly the same that
Nope.
allowed
Talking
that mutation
about-
to carry
we're
on.
talking about a large-scale population winnowing down.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So at one time there was one giraffe.
No,
No.
Why not?
because that's not how it works.
Hey, you said winnowing. That's all the way down there.
Winnowing doesn't go down to one.
No.
Winnowing goes down to a population.
Right.
Go.
It's survival of the fittest.
That giraffe that first developed some sort of mutation was able to survive better on the savannah after a climate change.
Right.
And so that giraffe spread its seed and was able to have more baby giraffes that became giraffes with more mutations and more mutations. It's the same reason that you don't die every time you get exposed to somebody with a cold.
Don't get onto the monkey subject. I'm not a monkey.
That's not. He didn't say anything about
No,
monkeys.
no, but you know damn well he's leading that
about
way.
monkeys. I said
No.
you evolved the ability to
He-
the thing gets a cold.
That's how evolution works. It's exactly how he says.
You know,
that
I am always at.
as a biologist.
Good
He's a
lord,
biologist.
here he goes.
I'm a doctor. He's a biologist.
You're not a doctor.
Well,
Yeah, soon. But
Road doctor.
no, I took genetic analysis in college, and that's been many moons ago. However, yeah,
He did it.
yeah, I did. No, and as Ron said, now that giraffe that had that procreation, that had that mutation, and it spread its seed, not all of its offspring had that mutation. Sometimes it's recessive, sometimes it's dominant, and not all the baby giraffes, I don't know what a baby giraffe is, a foal? Like a horse, maybe? I don't know. But anyway,
Find that out.
some of those
Think about
had that gene that gave them that spongy brain, or spongy thing in their brain. Some of them didn't. The ones that didn't died off. The ones that did survived. And maybe since all those others were eating the low branches, now the ones that were a little bit taller were able to eat. So then that gene got passed on. That's how evolution works. That's
How gingers lost their soul.
That is very true.
That is very true. They don't have souls.
I mean, look at the finches on the Galapagos Islands. Seriously.
Consider the lily.
No, that's how it works.
Yeah, Darwin's finches, buddy.
Yeah.
Famous.
He sailed on the
Darwin was a jackass. They've proven him wrong 100 times, and yet they don't. Yes, absolutely, they have shown him to be wrong.
Yeah.
He said, if any portion of my theory turns out to be false, then the entire thing is essentially false, and that has been shown. But nobody's going to jump on that bandwagon because, number one,
First off,
professors have freaking tenure and they don't want to crap where they live. You know?
Darwin was the only evolutionary.
No.
Fine, that's fine. But, alright. So now you got these guys who are so invested in what they think is the 100% truth without going any further. At one point, their Earth was flat. That was the truth then, Ron.
Well,
No. That was the truth.
It's a calf, by the way.
And what happens?
Okay.
Oh, it's a calf?
It's giraffe calf.
Giraffe?
That rolls off the tongue.
It does roll off the
Would
tongue.
it be a jacalf?
Yeah,
That could go wrong.
that could go wrong.
But the whole point of science is to find things that you think are wrong and try to prove them wrong. So
Exactly, but they've stopped. They don't even look any further.
No, they have. There are still people trying to prove. If there weren't people trying to disprove Darwin's theories, we wouldn't be in this conversation right now. Well, part of it. So
Maybe part of it.
And I'm sorry. Yes, the easiest example of that, giraffes made it fine. There used to be a giant animal compared to that called a brachiosaur, which was tens of times bigger than giraffes, and it lived. So if it was that big and its head was 80 feet in the
I can go out
air,
to the zoo and it's there.
it's not there now. It was millions of years ago.
Well, why didn't it evolve?
There was a global killer that occurred.
Okay.
There's been four or five, something like that.
planetary the extinction events, and that was one of the planetary extinction events.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, but I'm just saying that other things should have lived from then.
There were things.
And if you're saying the mutations work so well,
But
why hasn't everything mutated to be exactly the same?
No, because
everything has their niche.
And explain to me,
Niche. Is it niche or niche?
explain to me how monkeys aren't as smart as I am right now.
I know some monkeys that
actually don't. Yeah, that was probably not.
They just
what I was
found
gonna say.
in Africa, I believe, monkeys using stone tools. So
And planning for things,
You
like
know what?
setting
Give me
up.
a call when you find a monkey typing something out on a word processor, okay?
I know people that can't type on word processors now. So.
I'm sorry, have you seen some of the scripts that come out through Hollywood nowadays?
Bingo.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
The difference between monkeys and man is that man developed writing. So man was able to pass on knowledge.
I was going to say fur, but I've seen your back.
Yeah. But man's passing on of knowledge became an exponential growth of knowledge, whereas monkeys can't pass their knowledge on right now.
Theory. Yeah.
There are theories that they can, but it's not to the point where eventually it could be Planet of the Apes.
And I think we're going full circle with that whole transmission of knowledge, because it started with pictographs, then it went to writing, then it went to oral history, then it went back to written, and now, I mean, look at Instagram and Vine and things like that.
People can't even read cursive.
Yeah, I mean, people are transmit. You know, everything is in a picture or something like that.
They don't even teach cursive in school anymore.
Some do.
That.
My 4th grade daughter is taking cursive, and she is, you know, very proud of what she writes in cursive. And my grandmother was like furious when she found out that they might not teach her cursive. She said, "They don't, I will." So
yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean,
but nobody
you can't tell me that.
How often do you write in cursive? My name. That's about it.
I know.
Well,
of course, it's a modified cursive.
Yeah, I print most things, but
I have a computer.
I mean, well, that's because writing's a lost art. Nobody really writes letters anymore or anything like that.
I should start writing everything to Father in calligraphy.
There you go. I'm going to do pictographs. As a ancient history major, I'm going to do pictographs.
Crane, eye of Ra.
Horus.
What's the hippopotamus mean again?
You need to watch out because it wants to kill you.
There you go.
Most dangerous animal in Africa, by the way.
But yes, absolutely. But yes, giraffes most certainly do exist because of evolution.
Nobody says they don't exist. And that's where the giraffe thing came from, by the way, folks, because a certain couple of people just can't let that crap go and refuse to look at my evidence that I had. But
evolution is all around us. Thanks to evolution, your probably 5th or 6th generation removed grandchildren won't have pinky toes. Pinky toes are going away.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a little odd. How are you going to count to 20?
Even on a more important scale, your children and your children's children are going to be more immune to disease than you are.
Yes.
Because
I think they're less immune to disease since everybody washes their hands with everything. And
but there's still acquired immunity.
That's why the theory of eugenics is terrible, because anytime you take anything out of the genetic population, you're reducing the amount of mutation that we have.
Okay, well, I'm bored with this now because the whole point is just discuss Mythic podcast or Mythic.
Yeah, but you guys started on something, and I wanted to finish it. Just say I win.
Sweet. So are you
saying? You want me to just say you win?
Yeah. Are you saying soon there will be mutants?
There will be mutants.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like zombie
there are people not too far from us that have webbed toes.
Yeah, there's people that, I mean, look at Sherpas. They can go at very
true
temperatures and oxygen levels that I can't survive in.
No, wait, that's simply acclimatization.
No,
that's mutation.
That's also mutation. They have they've shown that like their lungs are larger, they have a larger functional residual capacity, which big words.
Those were pretty big.
You can't go to the Andes without taking Viagra because you'll die, but the people that live there are fine.
Why do you need a Woody to go to Viagra?
Because it reduces
what does my wife have to do with anything?
Andy, that's his wife.
What do you?
See, I didn't go there.
You just told me that I had to. You know what? That's not true. Actually, one time I did it because a doctor friend of mine, when I worked in the emergency room, he's like, "Look, I got these sample packs."
This is the story we
want. And I'm
to
like, "Hey, I'll give one a shot." Yeah. Let me tell you. 2 hours later, I still had the towel rack and nothing to do with it.
You gotta let it soak.
I'm serious. I was like, I put the towel on there. I'm doing a little spin. You got to do the helicopter.
Hey, we're supposed to somebody else is around, bud.
Yeah,
that's
where I screwed up.
Yeah,
I was wondering. I probably should have taken that as 7.
You don't just wait for the UPS guy and say, "Hey, how's it going today?"
Hey, I'm delivering that package.
You're the ups guy.
Yeah. Speaking of packages,
he just won the red. You didn't yell at him.
Yeah, I didn't yell at you the first time because I don't want to go in the red.
I apologize, listeners, for going into the red.
You gave me the look.
Well, you need the look.
Offensive.
So in any case, you can understand that Mythic Giraffe is a little bit of a point of contention with us because of the 3 of us, I'm definitely the more intelligent design-based person, and they are the
men of science.
We are the intelligent ones.
Men of science. Yeah, whatever. You're the smart one. Everybody else is wrong, just like the guys who thought the Earth was flat.
Hey, everybody has an opinion.
The whole Earth was flat thing was fat.
The whole Earth is fat.
Well, it is now.
Huge.
The Earth is flat thing was kind of a myth. But there was...
I don't think it was a myth. I think many people thought that.
Well, I think less people thought that than people really think. That because it was civilizations that already knew that the Earth was round.
It was a select group that didn't know it.
We are looking at it as a Western viewpoint. If you look at it as a worldwide viewpoint, less people ever believed that it was flat.
Well, at the time, there was not an easy way to transmit information. You had to wait for couriers and things like that,
it was
pigeons.
really proven to the knowledge of science until, what was it, the Greeks, I think, performed that test, didn't he? He went to different towers in different, between Egypt and Greece, and he was setting up sticks and all kinds of nonsense. I don't know.
The Chinese astronomers had ideas, and
Right.
Well, yes, but they also think eating tiger nuts will make you very manly.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
the manly part is getting the nuts off the tiger.
Yeah. Eat one of those, lay down within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Use your
glorious.
All right, so in any case, that's why it's called Mythic Giraffe, and I hope to never touch on that subject again because Wiz is always right and will forever be right, even though he was wrong the other day and can't admit to that.
Oh, I am pretty sure it will come back up.
Yeah.
So the next subject
All right.
is, I don't know.
I'm going to go. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks now.
Dos semanas for our listeners in Mexico.
There you go. Or other Spanish-speaking countries, which would be
A lot.
population.
It's like 50% of the world.
Yeah. I don't know if it's 50%.
No.
I don't think it's 50%.
It's a large population.
It's a large. Grande.
So I have to back this up with a little background. I am a nerd. I am not a cutesy nerd. I'm not the nerd that everybody thinks cool anymore. So I have to say, I'm a fiction nerd. I read a lot of fiction. I've been reading fantasy and sci-fi novels since I was
Old enough to read.
probably old enough to read. I
So it
remember
was like 20?
Yeah. So my first books were fantasy novels when I was like in 4th grade. I never read Dr. Seuss. I read Pierce Anthony.
Wow.
Yes, awesome author.
Right, awesome.
Yes.
So I have to preface this in saying I read a lot of fantasy novels and sci-fi, and I just don't understand comic books.
Yeah, I want to reiterate, these aren't fancy novels like fancy movies that you may watch at home.
No, that's somebody else.
And that'll be a topic for another day, the whole fantasy movies.
I just don't get comic books. You guys are comic book readers. One of you is a much bigger comic book reader and reads probably
Absolutely.
the worst of the comic book superheroes of all time.
God, here we're going.
Well,
here we
no.
go.
Here's the thing. Yes, I read comic books. Number one, I just got back into them, thanks to Chris. All right, and number one, I enjoy the art. Okay, number two, I enjoy a lot of the history behind it, a lot of the mythos, so to speak. Obviously, none of you know, but my favorite character is Deadpool. Do I know absolutely everything about Deadpool? No. Do I know? I mean, do I know the artists' names? Do I know the authors' names? Absolutely not. But I still enjoy the story. There's nothing wrong with that. Chris, on the other hand, could probably name who cuts the hair of the person who did the third Batman, comic in 1963.
Yeah, it's this little lady named Linda.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm trying to throw
Yes.
a comparison there.
I understand.
But the difference is how can you enjoy comics and comic book movies, because comic book movies are becoming the only movies
Oh my
that
gosh.
people watch anymore.
Oh, the bubble's about to break on that.
It's got to be.
I think Batman v Superman's going to be
Oh
the
yeah.
bubble.
Well, every DC
Well,
movie.
no, you got Deadpool coming out.
That's
Deadpool's going to be pretty awesome.
yeah.
But
You've got Wonder Woman and so many others coming out.
Wonder Woman again.
We'll see.
We'll say DC movie. DC movies always suck. So there's no consequences in the comic book world. Batman has been going on for 60 plus years. Superman's
75.
Superman's
Last year was Batman's 75th
If his
anniversary.
parents died, I'd say that would be a consequence.
that happened before the comic book even started.
Well, how could it have? If the comic hadn't started,
I don't
his
think
parents
that-
couldn't have died.
He was already established,
established.
and then they
Yeah.
backfilled the story.
Did they?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Which
Superman's
they
been-
do that with a lot of characters.
Superman's been since the 30s. Spider-Man since the 60s.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's
most of the DC characters have been around 70 plus years. Most of the Marvel characters have been around 50 plus years.
And I think that's exactly why Marvel just had Secret Wars and basically killed everybody
But
off.
then they come
and
back.
They're restarting their stories.
but they just come back.
because they're characters that people really like.
But I read books, and I love some of the characters in these books, and they get killed off in books, and then they're gone.
Yes.
My favorite series of books of all time is, well, actually it's kind of a bad example because they bring some people back, but I love Dune. If you read Dune,
Yeah.
by the end of the first book, he was Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones was
Yeah.
acclaimed.
Yeah, he started the whole. Oh, you like him? He's dead
Yeah,
now.
he's dead. So, and there's real consequences, and there's how can you watch the Avengers movie and not go, oh yeah, all the Avengers are going to be okay? how can you watch the Captain America movies and be like, oh yeah, they need to make Captain America 4, so Captain America is going to be fine.
I understand that. Some of it is, yes, and also us reading the comics, you kind of know what's going to happen anyway. It's like knowing the screenplay a little bit first. But me personally, comics, like Brad said, I like the art, the writing style. If I've taken breaks from certain runs of comics because I didn't like the way a certain writer carried the story. So, and a lot of it, yes, is there's no consequence per se, but there's a lot of reboots and restarts, and that kind of gets disjointed at times. If you look at, I know you make fun of DC. DC just went through this whole convergence thing to try to explain all the different, versions over the years and this and that. They did the same thing back in the 80s with the Infinite Crisis on Infinite Worlds and tried to explain how, there's Earth Prime and Earth 1 and Earth 2 and all that. It gets a little wonky, but again, it's a fictional universe. It's, fun. Then there are consequences.
They're not.
There are.
What? Okay, so one of the Robins dies.
Yes.
They get a new Robin.
But that...
How many of the Robins have stayed dead?
None.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, it depends on what part of the line you were in.
Well, it's only because the writers need to keep making a paycheck, too.
But,
I mean, they're not going to kill a character that's good.
Well, but, okay, you talk about that. When Jason Todd died. Back in the 90s, and they had
I told you he knew names.
I've heard names.
He was the second Robin. They had a thing that in the back of the comic book, call this 800 number if you want Jason Todd to die. Call this number if you want him to live. And it was like a 52% wanted him to die, 48% wanted him to live kind of thing. And they saw how many of the readers liked him, and after they killed him off, there was all this outpour. So yeah, it was kind of easy. He wasn't, totally dismembered or anything like that. So it kind of worked in the way, DC has things available.
Yeah, and speaking of which, how many times has Deadpool been absolutely cut up and destroyed? But he comes back.
Deadpool's a little different.
That's because Deadpool rocks.
Well,
but there's no consequences in Deadpool.
There are. He's all psyched out because he killed his parents, but he doesn't even know it. But it still messes him up in the brain. That's a consequence.
It's not a consequence. They need to kill off a major character. Iron Man needs to get in his suit and drunkenly run into a building.
Wolverine died.
And will come back. Guaranteed.
Well, they have Old Man Logan coming back. I'm not sure. I haven't even really looked at that.
Chewbacca is dead in the Star Wars books. Dead.
But Spielberg don't work anymore. Yeah, those aren't part of the history. Because in that case, Boba Fett's still alive too. Yeah.
No.
In the books, Boba Fett is still alive.
There was one digested. There were a couple of books.
There was books before there were prequel books, but I don't think.
No, he actually got out of the what was it? The
Sarlacc.
He got out of the Sarlacc. Now he was all messed up and half digested, but he made it out according to the books.
But I could buy that more. That's fine. It makes sense. Sort of.
Well, he had armor.
But Darth Vader
never really understand that.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Well, see, and that confuses me a little bit too, because when you see the new,
the trailer when he says, "My father has the Force,"
right?
See that?
Force. Because he's part. Where's the helmet?
Oh,
I burned it on him.
No, they talked about it.
And like Kylo Ren's like a Sith relic hunter or something like that. He's got relics from like all these different Sith over the years.
They went and pulled it out of the pile. That's in the. That's actually in one
go get his cod piece.
Hey,
that probably would have been a good choice.
But there have been times in the comics, and yes, they do come back a lot of times. Like Death of Superman.
That was biggest piece of money.
Well, yeah, but they left Clark dead for a while. Batman in the current run.
No, they didn't leave Clark dead for even six. It was maybe 6 because then he came back as Starboy or whatever. When there were the 4 or 5 Supermans.
Yeah, Metal and Cyborg.
Yeah, he was one of the. He was just a kid, but he was one of those Supermans. So he didn't really die.
I've always thought Superman was one of the most just outrageous heroes in the first place.
Absolutely.
Well,
realistically,
Superman is the Marvel version of it. He is what every character in Marvel is. Whereas in DC, at least they're a little grittier. I'll give DC that. In Marvel, Stan Lee set out almost from the beginning that his superheroes are much grander.
You have
than
a lot of
DC.
Supermen in Marvel.
Right.
You do, and
Yeah.
and there's way too many of them. There are just way too freaking many of them.
There's Thor is a god.
Yeah.
He's
God.
not really a god.
Alien.
He's just he was an alien.
Well, he was a god for a long time. I don't know if it.
Yeah.
I don't know because I didn't follow comics after like the 80s.
I think it's just
but
the
you
way
can say
like,
the
he's
same thing with
portrayed.
DC. Wonder Woman right now is actually the god of war. Wonder Woman, as we speak,
Right.
defeated Ares, and she took over as the god of war.
Yes.
Sure.
So.
Well, I mean, she's always had ties to the Olympic pantheon.
Well, she had, well, you know,
Pantheon.
she hadn't done bad for herself. So he was made out of clay. Really.
Yes. Yes. But
But the discovery of flight and all this.
What do you mean it's made out of clay?
Wonder Woman
was made out of clay.
No, she's a.
She is an Amazonian, but she was made of clay.
It was I can't remember his name, but yeah, like she was it was clay that was blessed by Hera and
See, I
all
can't
kinds
keep
of
up with
stuff.
this shit.
I don't follow Wonder Woman a lot.
The only comics I can keep up with are the ones that end. Like I read. This is gonna sound like blasphemy. I read Watchmen after I watched the movie, and I was like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do not like Watchmen one bit.
Not good.
Now, okay, one comic that used to really have consequence and people died off, Hellboy.
Right?
They killed Hellboy off. Well, that Hellboy's now in hell,
Right.
and now it's him in hell. It's one of those things. They know that people like these characters, and they want to keep these characters around.
Keep in mind, it's a business.
Yeah.
They're in it to make money. They're in it to make a
So
living.
are writing. So
Right.
books are a business. You're not
Yeah.
going to see Ned Stark come back. I'm pretty sure. Well,
I mean, who knows?
pretty sure he's not going to come back. You're not going to see Ned Stark come back.
One day, somebody needs to make a high fantasy movie and let him live.
Right.
Let Sean Bean live through the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a movie that he.
He dies. He dies a lot.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, dead. Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, dead.
Black Death, he died in that one.
Yeah.
The Patriot
Well,
Kings.
maybe he has problems remembering lines and he can only make it so far. Like, well, don't worry about it. We'll just kill you now.
But I think a lot of comic writers they try to introduce these new characters. I mean, I talk to the guys at the local comic shop all the time, and Marvel, DC, Image, they'll all try to push these, put these new characters out, and the fans go back to the core titles for the most part.
Because that's what they grew up with.
Right.
That makes sense.
Well, even you would think like the DC's killing it on TV right now. Yeah, Arrow, Flash, Constantine for a little while. They've got
That
these
show. That was a good show.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
be fair.
Well, he's
Marvel's got it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
They
Agent
do.
Carter.
Agents of
It was
S.H.I.E.L.D.
pretty good.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't bad now. It's gotten a little bit better,
I don't
but
know
I
what's
did not
first
like
season.
Agent Carter. Me personally, I just don't like the whole World War II setting.
Well, see, my
comics and
wife
all
loves that stuff,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm pretty much forced to watch it. But how about Daredevil?
Daredevil
The
was
Netflix-
really good.
Absolutely amazing
That was
show.
really good.
Amazing show.
Yeah. But again, these are known characters that they know, and they try to build off them and introduce these other sub characters. And for comic nerds like us, like my wife and I watch Arrow, like, oh, that's a reference to so and so, and she's like, I had no idea what you're talking about. But I go to the comic shop and they're like, oh yeah, I guess subscriptions to Arrow and Flash have picked up. Nope, it's the demographic now. It's instant gratification. They want it on TV. Also the paper is dying.
Yeah, it's hard.
Unfortunately.
It was always hard for comics to get new people into it because, you're gonna read this story, you're gonna be reading it for the next 12 months because we're not gonna finish this story arc. Look at the Phoenix series from X-Men.
Yes.
How long did that take to get payoff?
Yeah.
They ended up in space.
There's
Space pirates.
But again, it's a business. They're
Yes.
trying to make money, and I can't fault them for that.
I'm
That
not
is their
faulting
job.
them, but they could definitely
do more like one shots.
Yeah, they could definitely kill off some major characters. It's time for Batman to go.
I think
It's
they
gone.
do a
I'm
lot of
calling-
one shots. They do these little side stories.
I'm calling for
And
Batman to die. Pass
well,
on. Like they
spoiler,
did in the-
this may be spoilers. If you guys haven't read to this point, then I don't know what rock you've been living under. But in the current run of Batman was killed off. He and Joker had this epic fight. Batman was considered dead. Jim Gordon is now acting as Batman in this mech suit to try and keep Gotham steady
Why isn't he a mech suit?
because it's Gordon. Gordon's kind of old. I don't. Yeah.
And
And they
he's
also
rather aged.
well, he's. I mean,
This is Batman doesn't have any special powers.
no.
Batman.
I mean, Gordon, he was a cop. He had previous Marine training, but he didn't have the hand-to-hand combat and everything that Batman had. Regardless,
Nor the billions of dollars.
billions of dollars. That's
Yeah, that's
So-
a big help.
Batman's the worst character.
But
I'll get
anyway,
back to that in a second.
yeah. Anyway, so but he just ran into somebody found Bruce Wayne, and through the whatever war, fight it was, somehow he survived, but he's total amnesiac, can't remember any of that, and he can just remember he's Bruce Wayne, has no recollection of how his parents died, anything like that. I'm pretty sure he's going to take the cowl back up.
Going to be Batman.
But and I have total faith in Scott Snyder. He is definitely taking a good take on Batman since he started it in the New 52. But yeah, I personally, I like to see Bruce as Batman. That's just, now when Dick took over for a while during the Battle for the Cowl and all that, that was pretty good.
Sorry.
Yeah, I said Dick took over. Yes, crazy.
Yes.
But again, and I'm sure that's one of those story arcs that's going to play back out because, DC, much like Marvel, they, 20 years, 30 years have passed. Let's bring this story arc back for the new generation of comic readers. So,
which is fine. That's okay. Let's get back to the Batman thing.
oh,
Why does anyone, you especially,
Yeah.
as you're drinking out of your Batman mug,
yes,
like Batman? Are you a billionaire?
I am not.
Were your parents killed in front of you?
Thank God, no.
Do you have any relatable qualities to Batman? Is there anything you're like, oh, I was sitting on top of a building yesterday and I saw evil?
What, you remember when he was sick last year?
He did talk like that for a
Something
while.
like
Yeah.
that. Didn't grab crap.
I'd say that's at least one thing.
Show me how to fill out my time sheet.
He's a self-made man, though.
No,
No, his parents
His
handed him
parents
all
handed
that.
him all
How
the
can he be self-made?
I'm saying, when that tragic incident happened, he took it upon himself to develop himself
No,
into...
he took it on. Well,
Well, Alfred developed him.
I can only go by the movie because I don't know the actual arc of the comic. So in the movies, he
God.
just got drunk and went around the world until Ra's al Ghul took him in.
Oh my gosh, that's so wrong. Wrong.
Let's stick with the
He was
movies.
in the movies.
Oh gosh,
Movies.
yeah.
We all know.
movies are
Yeah, the movies also had Bane.
Right.
That's horrible.
I was born in the darkness.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't even get me started about Bane. That's the worst Bane ever.
Pretty sure that was an N95 mask, by the way. They just glued some crap to it.
Probably. But, yeah, and, well, totally off topic. They had to redo like 90% of his lines because nobody on set could understand what he was saying. All they heard was... And that's what you heard in the theater,
My wife
too.
doesn't like that Bane because she likes Tom Hardy and she wants to see more Tom Hardy.
Yeah, well,
Less Bane.
then watch Mad Max.
She loves Mad Max.
Yeah. But Batman, in the comics, he went to all these different martial artists, to learn driving techniques, fighting techniques, meditation techniques. He learned all this stuff through his, trust fund millions of dollars.
Is that in the New 52?
It was in the old ones also.
Was in the Golden Age.
Yeah,
Because
well-
in the Golden Age, he was a detective.
In the Golden Age, yes. But again, he was pretty much a self-made detective.
Yeah, but he didn't have any of the fighting skills.
He had some, but yet not to the point now.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
where he's a karate master.
Well, I mean, he
Yeah.
takes punches from people whose superpowers include strength.
Yeah.
And they're massive. And he gets knocked 50 feet and stands back up.
It's
and
called
keeps fighting.
rolling. It's called rolling with the punches.
He also
With the
got
punches.
his back broken by Bane and
Yes.
It's true.
somehow miraculously recovered from that with
It's true.
wing tech.
Yeah,
Yes.
Wayne Tech.
Wayne Tech is awesome stuff. We need more Wayne Tech.
We need more
Yeah,
Wayne
We do
Tech.
need more Wayne Tech. There are people, though. I mean, just because you break your back doesn't mean you're going to be paralyzed for life.
Doesn't mean you're going to be running around
Yeah.
fighting crime or anything.
I'm also pretty sure that, he'd probably be on disability.
It's
So-
a comic book. There's going to be some
handicap
fantasy
thing
to
hanging
it.
in the Batmobile.
You're in my space. Get out of the.
It's hover around.
The little walker.
His bat around.
The bat rascal.
Somebody give me the Batmark card.
But yes, I'll admit it. There are some things that are
Annoying.
annoying.
Unrelatable.
But yeah, everybody has their things they like though.
I don't like anything.
You like something.
You're right. You're right.
I'm right.
You're right with.
It's now on tape.
But
Yes,
but
absolutely.
and you talk about Marvel has a lot of the superheroes.
Mhm.
DC has a lot of supermen per se. Batman.
Even Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Green Arrow is Batman with arrows.
And a stupid hat.
He doesn't always
No,
wear
that
the
was
hat.
way
Now
back in the day.
Now he wears the
He
hood.
had the heather.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
The little
that's
Robin
awesome.
Hood.
The Robin Hood hat.
Yeah.
Yes, and the goatee.
Yeah.
He needs to come back.
With the little
Yeah.
squares on his chest.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, Marvel's got Hawkeye.
They do have Hawkeye.
Marvel has Oh God, now I can't remember her name.
Punisher.
No, the
Mockingbird
redhead.
or whatever.
Redhead.
Oh, Black Widow.
Yes, Black Widow.
Punisher.
Punisher, who is unfortunately right now dead.
Who was
but
my favorite
He's
character.
coming back.
I'd see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Punisher
Well,
died. I can't. I don't even. He's died many times.
And then there's got
there's a lot of similarities.
but
I still want them to do a crossover Deathstroke Deadpool.
well, Deadpool would win, and that'd be pretty
But
much
they're the
all there
same
is
guy.
to it.
They're the same guy.
It's not the same guy. It's two
Same
different
guy.
DC and Marvel.
The two guys in red jerking each
Because
other off.
the guy who wrote
Did you
Deathstroke,
say beating each other off?
Jerking each other off. What I said.
No.
the guy that wrote Deathstroke got fired from DC and said F you, made the same exact character for Marvel and called it Deadpool. Yeah, that's why Deadpool and Deathstroke are the same character. Because
I
the
did
same
not
guy
know
created
that.
them. Yes. That's why Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. Deadpool, Wade Wilson.
They're brothers.
Yeah, I'm not really
from
reading
the same
DC
mother?
enough to know that.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, about the only Marvel character, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them. The main Marvel character I can think of that he popped up before the DC version popped up was the Lizard.
Or Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, Plastic Man.
I think Plasma's out there.
Ooh, no, Plastic Man's early.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the original, like, Justice Society of America, because he was a criminal and they, yeah. I think he was in the
Plastic Man.
JSA.
Alright, Spider-Man.
With the idiotic glasses.
My second least favorite character of all
Yeah.
time, Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's not really a
So,
DC
well,
version of
They have effed up Spider-Man so
Well, he's a-
badly
he's a
with
white
all
kid, yeah.
the movies that all sucked.
But they get to see Kirsten Dunst.
Ooh, Spider-Man
Yeah.
2 is pretty good. Except for the cranes. Let's all swing our cranes together so he can swing down Manhattan.
Yeah, well,
I don't remember that part. I must have blocked it out.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Dr. Octopus?
Yes. It was well done.
Dr. Octopus
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. But then the other ones, I mean, like the third one, they tried to shoehorn too many enemies in, and that's the problem.
Was it the
They're
one
like,
Sandman?
Yes.
Didn't you watch it?
Which was a totally different take on Sandman, and and then the new ones. Oh, don't even start with that.
I've never even bothered to watch them.
Well, it's like the Ultimate Spider-Man, I guess. So, yeah, I haven't read Marvel since like the '90s. I take that back. I have read some Deadpool. I got Night of the Living Deadpool, that series.
Oh, yeah,
that was
a good one.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I am a DC fanboy. So,
I'm trying to think of the last comic book I ever bought. And
Probably My Little Pony, knowing you.
no,
my kids read My Little Pony. My Little Pony is huge.
Yeah,
it
he's
is.
a brony.
I'm not a brony. I'm sorry, Internet. I'm not a
You're a
brony.
brony.
Yeah. Oh, my wife makes fun of me all the time because
X-Force.
the kids read it, so I know the names. Oh yeah, X-Force. X-Force was
number
good.
12 is
With
probably
like
the last one I bought.
Cable and
And Bishop.
Cannonball.
Bishop was one of them.
Yeah.
And
Bishop, yet another character who's
What's his name's brother? Scott Summers'
realistically
brother.
not super
Oh,
fun.
Havoc.
Yeah, Havoc
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Banshee? No, Banshee.
What was her name?
Psylocke?
Polaris.
I don't think-
She had the green hair, magnets. She was like a
Was she in the
little.
original?
She was a female
People
Magneto.
constantly wrote her in the winter.
But
I don't know if she was in the original.
there's been so many crossovers with X-Men and X-Force and Uncanny X-Men, and
I don't even know where my comic books are.
I know where mine are. They're right in the other room.
Yeah. I can't even
Yeah,
find
got all mine in the box.
Yep.
Just arranged them again the other
So,
day.
but yeah, it's to each his own.
Yeah,
But I read, a lot of books, not nearly as many as you do.
I don't know
But-
about that.
Because like I'm bummed. I read a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons books, and that Wizards has like fallen off the earth when it comes to novels. They're just
See.
pushing out the.
You need to
games.
read Terry Pratchett, the entire
Yes.
series.
I've read some Pratchett, I think.
I love them.
So
I think I've got about $120 worth of his books right
And
now.
that's not even half.
and now I've
No, and I'm going to keep going until I
and
get them
like comic book wise, I want it in my hand, paper.
Right.
But for books, I've kind of gone the way of the Kindle.
all.
I have my Kindle and I love my Kindle,
Yeah.
but there are
It's
certain
just-
books that you have to read.
Maybe
Yeah.
yes, but the problem is I don't like throwing books away.
I don't throw
I-
any books away. Have you
I
seen
like
my?
throwing-
You've been to my
Well,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, but again, the problem comes in that I would read so many books
Yeah.
throughout a year that I could fill like half of this
Yeah.
living room with books, nowhere to put them. I don't like throwing them away, but on the other hand,
Never
I've
do.
got all these books sitting there.
No.
See,
Well,
they're
I
not
don't
really
have a
good.
library. I have a house.
I go
Have a
through
house.
the ones that I will. I mean, I've got a couple bookshelves in there. That those are the books that I will keep. I will reread, and then the ones that I read, I like, but I probably won't reread. I've like yard sales, things like that.
That
And yeah, I
hurts
know.
my soul.
Or
Well, there's certain books you
I've
don't throw
donated.
out.
I've donated some to like the library or
Absolutely.
elementary school.
I still
things
book
like
But you don't throw out any copies of the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings series. I don't
Right.
throw those out.
Yeah.
I will keep those forever.
that. Yeah, my
Um,
daughter is reading The Hobbit now. She
That's
likes
awesome.
it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
So-
who wouldn't like it? I
Just
think
as
the
long
first
as
time I
it
read it, I
doesn't-
was
just
maybe
watch the
12.
movie.
Exactly.
Any movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched 5 minutes of one of them, and I
No.
got so angry. Peter Jackson is a war criminal. I'm throwing it out there.
Well, and this is the problem. And again, totally off topic. And
That's all it is.
yeah, everything's gonna be off topic, folks.
Never.
If you read the book or you read this, any other media, and then you watch the movie, it's too like Jurassic Park. I mean, I read that book cover to cover when it first came out, just totally absorb it. And then the movie came out, and I'm like, but no, he doesn't do that. But he didn't look like that.
I used to be like you. I make the same argument that books are always better. And then Jurassic Park is a perfect example. That movie changed my life.
Oh yes.
No movie has ever, since Jurassic Park, been as good to me as Jurassic Park was. That blew
Yeah.
my mind as I think it was the 7th grade when that
Yeah, I was
came
about
out.
to say we're young.
You were old. You probably already
Brad was old.
What year was this?
90.
Oh,
early 90.
Buddy, I was in the military
Big-
for 8 years living in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, you hear that soundtrack even, and you just, I know when I haven't seen it yet because I don't ever go to movies, but when the new one, was it The Lost World or whatever?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
When that came out, but when I saw that trailer and I heard that music, I was like, yep, took me back.
Right.
The same as the Star Wars trailer. All I had to hear was the music, and I got
All you gotta
chills.
do, all you have to do is hear that opening part. That
And again, I am terrified
I am
about that
terrified
because
of
of what
Star
happened
Wars.
with episodes 1, 2, and 3.
I am terrified of Star Wars.
However,
well, Disney can't afford to screw this up.
Yeah,
Disney can afford
Disney
to
can
screw
afford a
this.
lot of
Now,
stuff.
you know what? So it's
Disney
one of
could
those-
afford to have Jar Jar Binks come out and poop on a snare drum for an hour, and they call that episode 2.
I'm with you. I see what you're saying, but it is too big of a thing.
Oh, it would give them
to
a huge
screw
black
up.
eye. Yeah,
Yeah,
Disney would
And
lose
I
a lot.
don't. And exactly. And now Disney's planning. They're planning an
the
entire theme park
Yes.
for Star Wars. You think I won't be there? If you think I won't, you're wrong. I will probably attempt to live there.
I don't know.
I'm gonna get in the
My
money
brother and
truck
I
never
already
leave.
know we're going to go to the midnight release of episode 7.
I was talking to my buddy about
Oh, I'm doing
what
it.
we're gonna
Yeah.
do, and I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife says, "Don't take my son then, though, because that's when all the shootings occur."
Nah,
And I'm like, I don't think so.
It's
I
Salisbury.
think most killers don't want to get up that late.
it's Salisbury.
Yeah.
Seattle's a nice area you guys live in.
Oh yeah, your
yeah.
nice area.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's just a lot to be said about the different medium.
I do love my
And look,
books.
I get frustrated with comic books. Trust me, I will get what. Why are you?
Go ahead.
Peace
Go ahead.
sign? Yeah,
Go ahead.
peace to you too, my
Yeah,
brother.
Go ahead.
I had a pull list of like 10 issues a month, and I've weeded it back because they change artists or they change. There are sometimes like the penciler. If the art's weird, it just makes it really
Penciler.
throws me
Sounds
off.
like another character, doesn't it?
Like
Penciler.
I'm one of those guys.
Penciler.
Yeah. Hellboy, the way it's drawn it really throws me off, but I still like the story, so I can deal with that. But and don't get me started. The issues that pages 1, 3, and 8 are drawn by so and so.
Oh,
Pages
that drives
2,
me
4,
freaking
6,
up the
and
wall.
28 are no.
That's weird.
It
But-
really drives me up the wall.
That's why I like the Batman. It's Snyder writes it, Capullo pencils it. Every now and again they'll have somebody come in.
It's never Batman. It's the Batman.
It is the Batman.
You know.
Yeah, I'm liking it right now. This is not totally off topic, but the bombshell covers,
Yes.
those are really
Yeah,
cool.
I like
Even
some
though the
variants.
art inside isn't repeated,
Right.
the covers are amazing.
Well, comic book covers are just like 90s video game covers. The
Oh,
cover has nothing to do with what's inside.
Absolutely not.
So,
But on the flip side, I told my wife, like, I'd take all these Wonder Woman ones with the bombshell covers and I'd frame them for her, and that way she could hang them in her office at work. So
that's cool.
it'll look good.
Sounds fancy.
Yes.
But
Yes,
that being
I
said,
will continue to read comics, and I hope you get back into comics
I
sometime.
don't think he's gonna wrap it. I can't do it. I will read graphic novels.
Yeah, well, and that's a nice thing. I mean, pretty much every title now has a graphic novel compendium out. So,
I just can't afford to do the comics. It drives
well,
me
see, what
nuts.
you do is you have a friend like me, and then you read my comics. Which
No,
is
I would be terrified.
What, did you mess them up?
Yeah.
I'm not that psycho guy.
Yeah, I would
Comics nowadays aren't going to be worth anything.
Oh, comics are never good worth anything.
Actually, I've got a couple that are worth like $20, but
Yeah.
I don't, and that's not why I get them. So.
The big print of the comics worth $1,000.
Well, I
so
mean,
it's
it's only things that are from like the 50s and 60s. You know, comics,
Nothing.
anything from 90 till now is nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, I've got Death of Superman that came with the armband and
Right,
all that
nothing.
stuff. It's worth like $5, if that. So.
I've got a 1946, I think. It's Superman versus Batman, 1946.
That's
something like
probably
that.
worth a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
But folks listening at home, you know, if you
Don't rob my house.
don't rob mine either. God, nobody wants to be robbed.
No.
If
Give it
you
a
like
shot at my
comics,
place.
you know, we'll let you guys know at the end how to reach us. But you know, if you have, you know, chime in if you want. So, the Jetsons, such a horrible
it's
cartoon.
okay.
Yeah, the Jetsons was amazing.
Oh my
See,
God.
Oh, come on. Jetsons.
Topic for another day. Topic for another day. All right.
Nothing wrong
The
with
only
Jetsons.
Hanna-Barbera-
Captain Caveman was atrocious.
Oh, you're
Captain Caveman.
Yeah.
Save this.
Flintstones was awesome.
Save this for another day.
Flintstones is all about the oppression of the proletariat by the freaking bourgeoisie. That's crazy.
The Flintstones is the honeymooners.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, with
really
slavery.
owners.
Oh,
Oh, it's
What's
a
the
living.
slavery?
Oh, all the,
The
animals.
dinosaurs?
Yes.
What else have they got to do?
The dinosaurs enjoy their lives.
Yes.
Whatever. If the dinosaurs can, yeah, and you notice the dinosaurs were the only ones in that cartoon that broke the fourth wall. They would
Yeah.
always talk to the audience.
It's a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I bet that bird really loved having his beak shoved into a record every time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
look,
the-
fat ass is here. Let's play a record for him.
Or the
Scrape on my beak.
pig thing living underneath the sink eating all their garbage. Yeah, that's a good
Well,
life.
I'm sure that would be terrible for the pig to have to sit there and do nothing but eat.
And get fat. Yeah. All right.
It's a pig.
Topic for another.
Brachiosaur could enjoy its day because it has neck pain because
Because
you're
he
lifting.
you use it as a
roads.
crane.
Yeah.
The giraffe of his day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, it didn't exist. It was mythic.
All right. So my topic, as you guys can probably tell, we're geeks, if you were
I'm
nerds.
not a geek.
Well,
I'm
nerd.
not a geek.
Nerd.
I'm a
Yeah,
nerd.
geek's different. Nerd. Yeah. Anyway,
Nerd.
what is your earliest video game memory, and what game or games, because it may be more than one, did you play that it just sunk its teeth in you and said, "Yep, this is what I want to do with my free time"? Me, some of my earliest memories are playing the Atari. I can remember one of my favorite games. I like Pitfall, but I had Journey, and it was a side scroller. You were in a little spaceship, and you had to pick people up and shoot the aliens out. And it
Oh
the
my
band,
god, I remember that game
the
now.
band had the the soundtrack, but it was on the Atari, so it was all like the little
Digital,
8-bit. It was just awesome.
Hmm.
But the game that sunk its teeth into me, and I knew that I was going to be a gamer, and Ron, you will totally, or Wismer, you will totally, slam me for
It's
this.
creepy when it says Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy II stateside,
Oh,
4 for the, general. It was just that. It was the first time I played a game. I was like, look at this story. There are, these epic changes. It's just amazing. I've probably played through Final Fantasy IV to completion at least 20 times.
Hmm.
And I personally prefer the SNES port of it. It was the way it was done. I've played the new ones on the DS and all. I don't like the way they redid it. The original story was just epic.
Back in his day.
Yes. And I still like Final Fantasy. I really haven't liked one since 6, but I always have hope. So, but yeah. I mean, and there was a lot of games I played I really liked, but I know you guys are more first-person shooter, and Wismer, you're more like the PC, the stratagem.
Yeah, I am a strategy
But
guy.
I am more I like RPGs
Right.
and the Batman games.
And Batman.
I like
Of course,
RPGs,
Batman.
man. It's just I think we talked about it earlier. They just suck you in,
Oh.
and you're there for months and
Yes.
months. Like when I played Skyrim, I did nothing
Oof.
but Skyrim
Yes.
for it felt like months.
Oh
you
yeah.
know? And then I'd pick up Call of Duty before it completely sucked, which was about 5 games back.
Oof. Yes.
And yeah, it would constantly be a social thing because I know many other firefighters all around the country, and we'd all get together and we'd all play this game.
Oh yeah, we're all
Great.
firemen, by the way. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in any case, so
Firefighters.
there's lots of
Yes.
game out there,
It's
lots
We are men,
But fireman is a guy that shovels coal into a
true.
locomotive.
That's a very valid point. Or the boiler on a steamship.
Yes,
you know,
it is the person that feeds the boiler.
Yeah,
or the
This
Navy. The fireman's still a position in the Navy, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. And that's literally what they. Well,
Are you a
not
fire
literally what
seaman?
They do.
Oh.
Oh.
No, they're firemen.
If you have burning semen.
A seaman was only somebody that actually did like bosun's mate, things like
Oh,
that.
okay.
If you were in aviation, you'd start out as an airman
Yeah.
or airman recruit.
Hey,
But
I
in
can
any
understand the social aspects. Me, I don't play a lot online. I don't that's just me. So every
Yeah,
now and again
well-
I will. I mean, I'll play Call of Duty. I've got, like you said, I've got a group of people I play Call of Duty with occasionally. But you know, I prefer the single player, or the couch co-op, which is dead now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that RPG where you can lose yourself for hours and hours and hours at a
Absolutely.
time. It got to the point, when I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, I played it so much that before I even got to a material, I could tell just by looking at it, oh look, that's iron. Oh look, that's, pussy willow or whatever kind of herb it was.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of games. The original game I was playing, obviously, I'm a little older than you guys.
Pong.
Yeah, you know what?
Let's flip the
I
stone.
had the original.
The stone.
Flip the stone. That was a good game. Don't knock that one, okay?
Oh look,
Okay.
it's that side. Yeah.
The day that I got that 1 ounce stone, I rocked everybody. But I definitely guess I played Pong, and they had a little tank game that came out, and all of this, the controllers were stuck.
Are you talking about
To
tank
it.
battle where you had the green and the
Yeah,
red and
yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and I
everybody.
played that game, but I mean, none of it really thrilled me, so to speak. You know, when Super Mario and all that kind of crap came out,
Yeah.
that's when it really started picking up, and that was the 80s.
85.
Yeah, right around mid 80s.
Yeah. So I mean, I would play that stuff, and it was okay. And granted, I'd do it for a few hours, but that's because I was bored. But it wasn't until probably Halo that I really started getting into just
That was gonna be
gaming for gaming's sake. Just keep
Never-
going.
Never
keep
played a
going.
Halo.
Oh,
Yes. As you guys will come to understand, I am
PS4 nerd.
I'm a Sony guy.
Uh,
I went Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4.
crap.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to fix it.
Yeah,
yet.
We had a
right.
Wii, but
We've
no,
tried the
No,
intervention.
we don't like the Wii.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Wii.
Nobody likes the Wii. I bought the
But-
kids one, and it was a piece of
That
crap.
was fun.
My kids use it for like the dancing games.
But like these days, Destiny, and then Wiz just recently introduced me to World of Tanks, which I can't get enough of. As frustrating as the game can be sometimes, you know. Hey, I just got in this game. Hey, I'm dead. No, okay. Well, let me go back to the garage.
Right.
So,
Nice.
Yeah. Well, so for me, my father was a computer nerd before computer nerds were a thing.
Ooh.
So we had an Atom computer, which probably didn't last. The company probably went out of business early '80s. It had cassettes, actual
wow.
cassettes that
Yeah.
you put into play, and we played a game. It was like Dragon Quest, but that wasn't the name of it. And they had a Buck Rogers game. So I have early
Duck
memories-
Rogers? Duck Dodgers?
No, it was a Buck Rogers. It was an actual Buck Rogers. I mean, this was fairly early '80s.
Wow.
And I have vivid memories
as you
of
said, it was only 2 seasons long. It had to have been the early 80s. I think it was 79 and 80 for Buck Rogers.
yeah, but the game that
Yeah.
I played was probably '82, somewhere around '83. I was young for it. But I have vivid memories of changing the cassette out because you had to change the cassette if you got to a certain point in the game.
Right.
Put a new cassette in. It was Dragon something, Dragon Quest. It sounds like the name, but I don't think that was right. But it was an RPG.
Yeah.
Because that's all you could play back then.
Right,
You couldn't
yeah.
do action games. We had an Atari. We had a Coleco.
Yeah. Never had a ColecoVision.
We, of course, had Nintendo. Everybody had Nintendo. Game Boy. I mean,
We had a Tandy 1000 computer. And I can remember playing some games on that. And kids nowadays will never know the frustration when
No.
you turn your computer on and it starts in MS-DOS.
right.
And you have to run this and set up this.
Or
and-
you're in Windows and you have to go out the DOS to play.
yeah. And you got
Oh.
your 5 3/4 floppy that, again, you had to change partway through.
Still remember that little flashing cursor. Dip, 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 dip,
Yep.
dip. Nothing's going to happen until you
Yeah.
something in.
We had Sega. I was a Sega kid.
Ooh.
I was special, I felt, because I had a Sega. Not a lot of kids had Segas back then.
Yeah.
I loved the Sega.
I did have the
Sega,
Dreamcast.
Sega had some good games.
But I had Genesis. I did Sega
Yeah.
Genesis. The game that I think made me a gamer, and this is a terrible answer. This is going to make me sound terrible.
Leisure Suit Larry.
No, I love Leisure Suit Larry. I had that actually. Actually, I also had a firefighting game because my father was a firefighter.
Yeah.
There was a firefighting game from years ago. It was terrible. You just moved an engine here and
Oh,
squirted
yeah.
water.
There's some guys that could use that here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But the game that really turned me into a gamer and actually made me into a PC gamer was Meridian 59, which was an online role-playing game before Ultima came out.
Oh.
So it was basically a MUX that they added some graphics to, and I played hours and hours of Meridian 59. And it was a subscription pay game, and I was 14, 15 years. I played it until college.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember being a freshman in college and still playing Meridian 59. I remember it actually still exists. I actually
That's amazing.
downloaded
The
it.
servers would last that long.
Yeah, somebody actually went back and reopened it. It's free to play now. But,
Yeah, of course.
And then
Went back and opened up the things and put some more vacuum tubes in.
yeah,
Vacuum tubes.
yeah. But I played that game for hours. I mean, I have a serious MMO problem. I will get addicted to it, and I will just play the heck out of an MMO. That's why I have to keep myself away from them. WoW was a problem. Star Wars Galaxies was less of a problem, and Star Wars, the new one, was even less of a problem. But I'm weaning myself with therapy and drugs. I'm okay. And then the answer I wanted to give, the other one was Halo. I loved Halo. When Halo came out, we played so much multiplayer by LAN. We would bring computer or TV monitors and Xboxes, and we would all just sit in my house. And I have a split level house. And we would run cables between all the rooms in my house, so we could have just the number of people playing Halo that we could get 16 players in my house playing on LAN party, and it was awesome.
That's what we did in Afghanistan. We actually set it up through our entire fob and played Black Hawk Down because we had no other amusement there. But yeah, we had cables literally running probably a half a mile just so everybody could play.
Yeah. That's something I actually miss about the 360, or when the 360 came out, it kind of died off, and when the Xbox One came out, it's gone. I miss LAN play. I loved it. I loved the idea.
You can still play local. It's just you set up. I think it all sets up wirelessly.
Yeah, it's just not as fun. It's not the same. And now nobody wants to move their stuff around. We're all
Can you
older.
blame them?
Oh, God, no.
You pay that much for
Yeah.
a system. You want to keep it simple.
Yeah, you want to keep it safe. I had the Xbox, the original Xbox. I had the flip down monitor that connected to it, so you could.
Oh yeah.
I used to work on a private ambulance, and we had nothing to do at night, so I would plug it into the inverter in the ambulance, and I would play Morrowind
Oh, wow.
pretty much all night long because I didn't have anything else to do with my giant Duke controller, my little flip. I still have all of it. It still works.
They still sell those things. You see them a lot in AP stores. Basically, you've got like a big suitcase with the monitor in there and everything, and it works out pretty well. But,
Yeah. I can remember computer-wise playing Doom when it first came out.
oh gosh, yeah, I remember Doom now. Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to remember the patterns of the enemies so you could get to this or get to that, and oh gosh, and having sleepovers at friends' house and saying, okay, we're gonna play GoldenEye, GoldenEye was a lot of fun. And I never had an N64. I had friends who had it, so I got destroyed because I was trying to relearn the controls and things like that. But I can vividly remember a buddy of mine's birthday party, and we had a sleepover at his house, and he had just got Shadows of the Empire, and we said we were going to beat it that weekend, and we just traded off, if you died, it was the next person's playthrough or whatever, and we beat that game that weekend. It was so much fun, joking around, staying up all night, guys kind of sleeping in shifts. The thing of doing that now at 36, oh gosh, it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm past bedtime. So I'll find myself getting into a game, and you look at the time and go, wow, it's been 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My wife complains that about my gaming, but the thing for gaming for me is there's still a lot of things that stress me out. There's a lot of the crap that I've seen that it's just not cool, and so gaming gives me a chance to get rid of the frustrations, to go out there and kill something,
Or-
you know, without killing something,
Or get more
Yeah.
frustrated.
Oh.
or get more frustrated. Yeah, depending on the
If
game.
you play Dark
Dark
Souls.
Souls.
But yeah, I mean, some of those games are absolutely insane as far as raising your frustration level. But I mean, when you find something you like, man, when you find something you like, you just stick with it. Stick with it until you don't like it anymore, and find something else you do.
Like Destiny.
Like Destiny.
Like
Well,
Well, they just
You know
rolled
what?
out that new
Yeah, I mean-
2.0 or whatever for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
let me tell you, I
Unlike-
downloaded the update, and it's pretty awesome. Like the guns. All right, I know because that was our big thing, right?
Mhm.
I worked my ass off to get those guns. Well, now they've rolled everything back, and I'm going in there with brand new guns that I bought from the gunsmith, and they're just little white guns. But I'm going out there and destroying crap with these things. The
I
new
read-
sniper rifles are amazing.
I read somewhere that like some of the subquests are kind of glitched in the new Destiny patch, so you don't want to like totally finish some things because it
Well,
will.
they've made it so you can actually do your quest lines over again.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. This is just what I read. I
Yeah.
haven't played Destiny.
Me and my buddy Newman, we were playing the other day after the update, and we determined that we're gonna do a lot of the stuff, but we're not turning any of it in for credit until the rest of the update drops. Because there's no sense in turning it in for XP when nothing's. I mean, you're stuck at 34 right now. Nothing's going up.
Yeah.
Nothing, anything like that. So.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm having world attacks right now, and I have. I think I looked the other day. I have 2,600 hours in Panzer Corps. So I'm still playing Panzer Corps.
Wow, that's
Nothing
impressive.
wrong- I mean,
No, I have a problem with Panzer Corps. Panzer Corps and I have a problem.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I can remember on the computer playing, Baldur's Gate 2,
Oh yeah.
Neverwinter Nights. I mean, the amount of time in those.
I don't know,
and
man,
for
that
all the,
PC
the
game
RPG
and
that I like, I'm not a big MMO guy. It's some of them are fun, but
What I've always wanted, and I hope a game developer listens to me, I've always wanted a small multiplayer online experience. I want Skyrim with 3 of my buddies.
yeah,
that would be nice.
I want a environment that I can alter with a few of my buddies,
Right.
and we could not as simplistic as Minecraft, but something that we could have our own quests and enjoy as a co. Because I love co-op. I'm a co-op guy. I'd rather play co-op anytime over. Because when I played every MMO I've ever played, Rated 59, I was kind of a bad boy. But other than that, I've always played more the PvE side, and I enjoy the
Yes.
PvE side. So I want a
Yeah.
PvE experience where it has a sustained environment and it's just a few of my buddies. Like Destiny is fine in that Destiny's great. I only play with 3 people, 3 or
Right.
4 people. I
That's
don't
right.
really play with
Yeah.
other people, but it gets repetitive. It's so repetitive in Destiny. I want a Skyrim, but with 3 people.
Yeah.
And where
Really?
you could like
But again,
claim a
they've addressed a
territory
lot
or
of
something and have your little fiefdom. And,
right. I want that, and you could make. I feel like you could make that game, and I feel like Dark Ages of Camelot was close to that, where they were
Yeah.
trying to make it so the little servers fought each other, and you didn't have to fight each other. I'm totally cool with that.
Yep.
I would love to have something where I could buy the game, invite my friends to play on this server, and
Right.
we don't even have to play at the same time, but we're all in the same area.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to, we can go out and do stuff with multiplayer, like a massive where you just go out and do portal stuff, like they
Yeah.
try to do with WoW. But that's what I want. The massive multiplayer, I loved it. I have a soft spot for it, but I can't do it anymore. It just hurts my soul too much.
Well,
It's understandable.
and some of them they try to rank it so okay, you're this level to this level, you can only do this. But then you have those guys that figure out a way to get in there and just decimate things.
Oh, and there's
Yeah.
always somebody. That's one of the reasons I quit playing Call of Duty. I mean, besides the fact that it became the same game
Oh,
over
people
and
are
over,
OP.
but with shittier stuff.
Yeah, there are those guys that somehow figure out a way to get the max level within 3 days,
Yep.
and then they just destroy everything.
Yeah, my plan with Call of Duty was I was always too good.
Oh.
I remember
Did I ever
days.
play Call of Duty with you?
Oh yeah. But maybe
I'm not sure we ever
We
did.
used to play it in the firehouse.
I
and
do remember
Yeah,
that.
I
We play 4-player co-op.
I made John and Darren
Darren's
so mad.
because you would just run around with a knife.
I run around with a knife and just stabbed him, and oh man, that made
Yeah.
him mad.
Yeah.
But I love I love that experience of the, like I said, the small.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with It's fine to play with strangers. World of Tanks is fine.
Stranger danger.
With Stranger Danger. And World of Tanks is great because I just turn on party chat and I don't have to listen to anybody. And it's just my little platoon and we just run around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I tried some of the DC Universe Online. It was fun, you know, you made your character and everything. And the nice thing about that was there were some people out there that were like, hey, you know, they would just post it up there. I'm level blank. If you need help with a, you know, send me a message if you want help with this mission. If not, if you got any questions, those are the good ones. But then you always have those jerks, like you said, that are overpowered and they come in, they do the PvP. Like, if any of you have ever played a Souls game, sweet Lord, I'm the person that I will wait there and I will, you know, I'm definitely here if you want to summon me into your game. I'll help you beat the boss.
Right.
And then you got the jerks, you know, and I know it's a part of the game, but when somebody who's 50 levels above me goes into my game, stabs me in the back, one shot kills me, and I'm, you know, waiting to go into a boss arena, that
There's
is
no
some
fun
of the
in that.
frustration.
It's not
No.
fun. It's fun for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm
know.
sure it's fun for them.
It's just like
but
Team
it's the
Fortress.
same as, like, you know, Andre the Giant going and punching a toddler in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of wrong.
Yeah, that's. But yeah, I'm with you. There has to be a part of games where, especially if they're going to have an online experience, that filters out the a-holes.
Yeah.
You know, you need to
I'm not
have.
sure that's possible.
Well, some games do that where it's to come into the game you have to know the, you know, the code for that, you know, specific, like for Bloodborne at least. If you go to these Chalice dungeons, you can share the code and people can come in and help you that way. And the only people that know that code, you know, punch it in. And you know,
But
Call of
Diablo
Duty-
does the same thing.
Yeah, Diablo did that.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, yeah, if you make, you know, your private rooms or whatever, but still you're going to go against other teams.
Borderlands.
Borderlands
That was a pretty amazing game.
A pretty amazing game.
Yeah.
I wanted more of a multiplayer experience with Borderlands.
Well, they have that.
They had,
now,
well,
apparently.
it's more co-op.
I haven't played
Yes, it is co-op. And I came into that game See, that's another one of my problems is I come into games late sometimes, and by then
Nobody else.
everybody is so either high leveled or they've moved on to something else. So it's like I'm standing out there with the tumbleweeds, going, "Please, someone help me."
Yeah, we a buddy of mine from college. We try to sync up the games we buy if we're going to play for co-op. Like we bought Army of Two, which actually was a really great co-op game.
That was a fun.
It
co-op
was not
game.
a good single player game, but it was a fun co-op game. But we bought it specifically because we're like, oh, we're gonna play co-op, and so I never turned it on unless I was playing with him, and that's the stuff that I like doing.
Yes.
That's why I like World of Tanks. I jump on with sometimes Bradley and some others.
Yes.
But that's something I really enjoy is playing an experience with just a small people.
Yes.
You need to get a PC. You need to get PC anyways because
my PC is old and dying.
Mine need a new one too, so we should just buy new ones together.
Yeah.
With our disposable not even 2 weeks ago, you said there's nothing wrong with my computer.
What are you talking about? No, my laptop is fine. It's my PC.
Oh, you're big on all right.
Desktop.
Big
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yes. I only have a desktop, folks. I am old.
That's actually funny.
My wife has the laptop. I have an iPad. I use it for things.
Well, as an Apple hater, I did not know that.
I know.
That's right, internet. I hate Apple. I said it right now.
I just started using Apple about 1.5 years ago. I like it. It has its quirks, but
I don't understand how anybody can be fooled by the iPad Pro. So basically, they just want to make the Surface and
they do. Yeah, they just.
So Microsoft made it better.
Everybody steals everything.
Oh yeah, that's it. But now it's hipster because
it is
Apple
hipster.
stuff.
Yes.
Well, Apple has some pretty good products. Let's not lie.
So
I mean, how many Androids have I owned versus this? I've had 2 Apple phones and nothing happened to them, and then every
Nothing's
Android
ever happened to
phone
them?
blew up. Don't you throw my phone?
But like PC gaming. Yeah, I can remember, you having to flip that box over and look. Oh, do I have this, and this? And I was going to I was going to pop in an old game the other day. I was going to pop in Baldur's Gate 2. I was like, I haven't played this in years.
You would not.
The new operating system is too smart for those old games.
Yeah,
so and they've
you
got
can find ports for them.
I know, and they've got like an iPad version, but I don't.
They were always so difficult to control, though.
Oh,
Stupid
no.
keyboards.
No.
Man.
It was the same as like playing Doom. You had your keys here. You had that.
Yeah,
You couldn't do half as much stuff in Doom as you could.
I personally would rather play a first-person shooter on the computer.
I'd much rather be on the console.
I'm sorry. for when I played first-person shooters a lot, like Doom and Wolfenstein and things like that, it was on the keyboard. I guess I was used to that. So
I because of how stupid I am about MMOs, I have to have a keyboard.
Yeah,
because I need my hotkeys. I can't live without it.
Yeah, because I gotta like hold L2 and select. Yeah, it's
I can't do that because that was my problem with Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
There's just too much of the radio menus, and I'm just
it does slow down a little bit.
It slows the game down.
Yeah, and then it pulls you out. Yeah, that's not fun.
Oblivion was fine, or Skyrim was fine, and because they didn't have that,
There was a lot.
you know.
Well, yeah, there was some stuff.
But it was all
But
D-pad.
It wasn't as.
It wasn't. I didn't.
It wasn't like a Neverwinter.
Yeah, when I eventually fall back into the darkness of an MMO, and you guys won't get to see me again for a while, I will be on the keyboard, and it will be on a computer because I need a keyboard.
Right.
Because I can't be a high level healer and not have my hotkeys. It's just not gonna work.
And see that, and that's how I play it. I usually am the healer, and I just found out it's what's the game? The game's called Legends of the Sword Coast or something like that. And it's like an online, like one person could be the DM, and then you have a couple guys that play through the game. That sounds interesting.
That's why I'm thinking about buying a new PC.
I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows, folks? If this works out, maybe we'll do a let's play of that one time.
That would be pretty awesome.
So yep.
Yeah, you'd have to buy a computer.
It will be good. Well, I have a computer.
Something that can play real games.
Yeah.
This actually is probably better than most desktops.
We've thought about getting a new computer anyway, so.
My wife just gave me the go ahead.
Ooh.
She doesn't know what she can get into. She's like, oh yeah, you can buy a new computer because I told her I was like, it's getting a little old. It's probably 7 years old.
You're going to get one of those Alienwares? They're supposed to
No,
be pretty good for gaming.
Just build your own.
I just don't have it.
Yeah.
I can't afford it.
Whisper says this, and he understands this. I say, I'm like, yeah, build your own. I'm thinking I'm out in the back with wood and vacuum tubes. I've got to call fire down from the sky and trap it in this magical box.
Yeah.
I think these days it'd be pretty easy to find, to be able to do it. I mean, you might not be able to build yourself an awesome PC, but I mean, I'm sure there's enough stuff on YouTube and everywhere else.
I could
throw it together.
I could just have my kid to do it.
Yeah, just get your kid to do it. Yeah, fine.
That's true.
Because she's probably taking coding in school anyway. So
I actually I have friends that work for Microsoft and say, hey, tell me what to build, and they just.
How many times are you going to point that out in a year?
I just like pointing it out in front of you.
Every time.
Yeah.
Has it gotten me anything good?
Yeah.
What?
Can't tell you. Super secret.
Exactly. So nothing.
Oh, super secret.
Super secret.
Super secret.
Well, there's nothing wrong with super secret.
So what do you think, guys? Did we have fun today?
Sure.
I had fun today.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was nice talking outside of work, talking about things that we
talk about all the time.
talk about all the time, but we wouldn't
about.
talk about some of this stuff at work so much because I always hide my inner nerd when I'm at work. There's certain things I can't talk about. There's things I haven't talked about on this yet. Please don't Google me. So I guess our next step is we're gonna have to get a Twitter account. Is that what the kids do these days? They get Twitter?
I think so.
And
we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll let you know soon. It will probably be at Mythic Giraffe. Don't quote me on that.
If that's how Twitter works.
Yes. That's your handle.
We'll tumble? Do we tumble?
I don't think we need to tumble.
What's tumble?
I've had a handle, but that was the day I had the Viagra. Anyway.
Tumbling is more pictures, like a video diary kind of thing, I think.
What's the imager then?
Image? I don't know. I don't know.
It's all just porn.
I have Instagram.
And that's pictures too, though.
That's pictures. That's like pictographs.
So what's Tumblr?
Tumblr? I don't know.
Tumblr.
I don't have Tumblr.
I'm telling you, it's porn.
I got LinkedIn.
Everything's porn.
I'm not LinkedIn.
I am LinkedIn.
I am LinkedIn. I have yet to discover the point of LinkedIn, but
well,
I have LinkedIn.
I get some
weird ones.
No, I get some good
business ones.
Business stuff because I do
interface
stuff and I get stuff from that. But
I've got the Facebook. I've got Twitter.
I got the MySpace. Does that still exist? Everybody got MySpace?
Yeah. By the way,
MySpace is for like music.
Yeah,
that's big on.
We do have the Facebook, guys, and we may open that up so people can leave comments and things like that.
We'll open up the Mythic Giraffe.
Send your new pics to @Bradley.
Don't send your pics.
You can find me on Twitter. I don't tweet a lot. I am at CLTruitt22.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, but I have no idea what my handle is because I only got it so I get Borderlands codes for the keys. That was the only thing Do they still do that?
Yes, they do. I just saw some the other day.
I need to get back into Borderlands and play some more because I haven't played
the pre-sequel.
I didn't play the pre-sequel, but I didn't play the last of the DLC.
Do they have one for the Xbox One yet? of Borderlands?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
the
they're-
Handsome Jack collection.
Yeah, they're going to port. Supposedly, Borderlands and Borderlands 2 are getting ported over to Xbox One. It's on the list of first ones getting on one.
Well, if you get that collector's disc, I think it's got the pre-sequel and all the DLC.
But if you already
for 2.
own, I think if you already own Borderlands 2, it's going to be just
And all your saves transfer over.
Yeah.
So,
But
but yeah, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Right now, we're trying to figure out the timing of this. Right now, it'd probably be a monthly or like every other week.
Semi-weekly.
Yeah, our work schedules, we work 1 on, 3 off with lives and everything is trying to figure out the time to get this on.
Some of us take vacations all the time.
We are,
We're going on is 24 hours, so don't think we're making out.
starting out, wherever you're listening to this, we appreciate it. Like us, rank us, however that works. We're hoping to be on, Apple or Podcasts, SoundCloud, maybe eventually YouTube. Who knows? You might see us.
Oh, I feel bad for you then.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep working out harder for me today.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Have a great day. Stay safe. See ya.
Love you guys.